Good evening and welcome to another edition of Pan and Zoom, where we talk to filmmakers about filmmaking. I'm your host, Sati Gossett, and tonight we have a wonderful guest here, Vonda Morris, makeup and hair artist for TV, film. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to have you here. Here at Pan and Zoom, what we like to do is we like to talk to people of every aspect of the film industry. You know, it's easy to talk to actors and directors and writers, but we want to also talk to people behind the scene, editors, storyboard artists, and kind of hear their journey. And we'd like to start off like, what was your inspiration for getting into the business?
My real true inspiration was my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have thought of being in the business if it wasn't from her because I was working in the salon and she didn't think that that's where I needed to stay. So I guess she saw someone on the show, TV show. I think it was a news channel or something about a makeup artist. So she thought that would be better for me and she called the school that was on there, Joe Blasco, and she was like, I think you should do this. And I was like, well, I'm the child that go, okay, I got to do it, Mom. At least try it. Let me go check it out. And when I went there, I I felt like they were challenging me, as if it's going to cost this much. And I was like, after that, I had to do it. And I think that was really just following my ancestors telling me to do what my mother told me. And I ended up at Joe Blasco Makeup School.
Oh, wow. Where is that located?
Well, it was located in Los Angeles. I don't know if it's still there, but the last one that I knew, they had it in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, wow. So you went all the way to
No, I was in Los
Los
Angeles
Angeles?
when
Okay.
I went. Yes.
And how long was that program?
Oh, I went for, it was like a 3 months program, 10 weeks program.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 week.
And after
10
that, did
weeks.
they help like place you? And
No,
no.
no, you go, you learn everything. Then you learn everything. I learned special effects, beauty makeup, and there were sometimes they would send you out to different jobs
Mhm.
while you were in school when they wanted students to come and work on projects. So I did that. But for the most of it, my first break, was being in the salon working with someone that was already in the industry.
Can you say who that was?
Yes, it was Irma Kent.
Oh, wow.
Irma Kent, yes, Irma Kent. We were working in a salon in Inglewood together, and she was working on Candyman.
Wow. So that was your first official time being on
First
set?
official time was Candyman.
So you did all the makeup?
No, actually, what they were needed someone who knew how to do special effects,
Okay.
and I had just gotten out of school, and they wanted to. Vanessa Williams is the
Mhm.
scene where she was pulling her dreads out, and they wasn't sure of how to do it with texture hair. So I was fresh out of school and excited about it. So I said I could do it. Irma was like, "You can do it." I said I can do it. So she took me to meet with the producers, and I had figured out exactly what I was going to do, my little test, and I took my little mannequin with me and the test and showed them exactly what I would do. And that's how I got my first job working on the set with Candyman.
That's fantastic because it's a relationship based business. And if you do a good job and say, hey, let's use her again. So after that, I was looking on your resume. It said you worked on CB4 too. Can you talk about that experience?
Yes. Well, CB4, same thing. It's the relationship. Irma was on that as well. CB4 was really, really young. And with me having the training, and I'm an artist at heart.
Mm-hmm.
So CB4 allowed me to really grow because Chris Rock had to have gold teeth. And quick story, he had to have gold teeth. And the artist that was working on it just wanted to put gold foil on his teeth. So every time he would speak, the foil would fly. So then, I was like, well, why don't we just do a mold of his teeth and some teeth made.
Yeah.
And I was really big with effects. Started out like that. So I did the mold of his teeth, and we had the dental work done, and that's how we had the gold teeth to stay on. So that was my experience for CB4 and working with Chris Rock and all those. It was wonderful.
So it's safe to say Irma was like almost like a mentor to you.
Irma is my mentor.
Still to this day?
Still to this day.
Mhm.
Irma, she's semi-retired,
Mhm.
but Irma really taught me how to, being from LA and a little hot-headed, she taught me how to handle myself in the business. Handling yourself and knowing how to, really present yourself in a calm manner. And because, there's always fires. And if you don't know how to handle adversity, you're not going to be able to make it. And she taught me that.
I mean, and that's key because since it is a relationship-based business, you really have to know how to conduct yourself. And sometimes people make more mistakes than get wins, and they can be finished before they start. Not because of the profession, but just because how you relate to people.
Yes.
And, it's key having a mentor to kind of show you the ropes. And a lot of people don't have that. What was the landscape like coming into film and TV? Because I don't think there was that much diversity back then. How were you received?
I was received well because when I did Candyman, I was working with a makeup artist named Michelle Bueller.
Okay.
And I went on to do California, Pulp Fiction, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I went on to do a lot of films with her. So I had a chance to experience really both worlds of the business and to be received in both sides, because there is what you have is a Black Hollywood and the standard Hollywood.
Yeah.
So, being able to be received in both, it was really a gem. I was really with Michelle for a while before I ended up really working in Black Hollywood. But I think it was Martin after I did CB4, I did Posse.
Yes.
Yeah. So then after that stretch, I ended up doing my first department head,
Surviving the Game.
Surviving the Game with Ice-T.
We do our homework here on Pan and Zoom, guys.
Yeah, Surviving the Game. Surviving the Game was really a great experience because that was my first time department heading, and I had to the wig that Ice-T had on. I went and had a wig made by the famous Victoria, who makes all the fabulous wigs. But Ernest wanted something really different, so I made the stand-in in the double wigs. So when he saw that, he says, "I think I want to use those wigs instead." And I was like, "You want to use my wig as opposed to the one that we paid all this money for?" And he was like, "Yeah, I like it." So I was making wigs for Surviving the Game. So, that was a really, now that I look back on it with the years of experience now, um, it really prepared me for where I am today and how I like to look at films and do films. I like to be very authentic with it and use original pieces and not something that you always see.
No, I mean, because it's a trademark. You say, oh, Vonda must have worked on this
Yes.
XYZ. How inclusive do you like your creatives above the line to be as far as their involvement with makeup work, hair work? Do you adhere to a strict vision of your own, or do you like to say, oh, well, what do you kind of do it together with the actor and the director?
Well, you know what? My job is to take the director's
Vision.
vision and make it a reality. So I like to know what they like, and I like to be able to give them exactly what that vision is. And that's my job. I really, if I have an opinion on how to make it work, that's where I step in. I'm not going to if they don't know, then they want to ask me, that's when I step in. But I really respect the order. I really respect the chain of command with it. And that's how you get a really good project and you get to work with people and you get longevity.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense. And in looking over your filmography, you worked on some impressive projects, and you've done a lot of cool stuff with people that are on the rise, like Issa Rae. Do you want
Yes.
to talk about, and David Oyewole, we'll talk about him too, but talk about the experience of working on Insecure. Because just to step in, I think it's cool because it was such a significantly African American cast, and African Americans being how we're shot, how we're made up. Um, it was beautiful what you brought to the table. And just seeing the different hues. Can you talk about that experience?
Well, Insecure came about. I did Little, and that's how I was introduced to Issa. And we're both from Los Angeles and basically in the same area. Um, we really got along well, and she asked me to come join Insecure. I think I came season 4, and I did season 4 and 5 where the change happened with the look. Um, it was really a great experience to be able to shoot in LA and for us, by us, and being able to be in places that I would normally go and say, oh, wow, we're shooting here and making a film here in LA. And Issa, just her creative nuance to the business is incredible because we not just Insecure, but I did the first season of Rap Shit with her as too. Rap Shit. First season of
say
it.
Yeah.
So that was interesting because when she wanted me to do that, I was like, what? You want me to do what? I don't know. But her creativity is just where it is now. And sometimes we can stagnate ourselves into believing that, everything is always, what you remember it to be. But we have to also know that time doesn't wait for anyone and it grows. So what she's doing with television is creating the nuance of, the social media, adding social media to tell the story. That was something I had to go, oh, wow, this is truly amazing. And she's just amazing to work with. And the things that she's doing, not just for, in front of the camera, but behind the camera, where she's making sure the community stay alive. I have a lot of respect for Issa.
Yeah, and it just brings that diversity and inclusivity that we so desperately needed in Hollywood.
Yes.
And just getting a chance to have our voices heard, which is important. And again, across the board, from the decision makers all the way down to the makeup, all the way down to the PAs, they have different initiatives with some of the studios. I saw a Deadline article about Black Beauty record where there's a makeup thing you guys were doing with Warner Discovery, where you're
Yes.
finding new
Yes, I was
makeup artists.
working. Yes, I was working with Black Beauty. We were doing mentorship for Warner Brothers. So we were working with the new artists, and just preparing them for being a department head, working in the business, what the requirements were, and what's needed, so they'll be prepared when they're out, ready to go and for an interview and do these jobs. If we don't, this is with having a mentor like Irma and what she taught me and what my mom taught me being in the community is to be able to give back. If we don't teach each other how to do this and we take it with us, then where does it leave us? How can you say, I was a great makeup artist if someone else can say she she taught me well? If no one can say that, you can't say you did anything.
You're right. I mean, you essentially became Irma. And but that's what you got to do. You have to pay it forward.
You have to.
And because other than that, it's going to be that much more difficult for people of color to get into the business.
Exactly.
And pave their own way.
And it's not just teaching them also about the art of the makeup, because there's different forms of makeup that we have to do when we're working in different shows require different types of makeup. But you also have to teach people that there's going to be obstacles that you're going to have to go through. You got to get through it. You can't make this, because it's a job. And when you leave here, you have a whole nother job to go to. Everybody has a family that has real life issues. So you can't take everything on that job and let it stress you so that you cannot take time out for your family. So to be able to teach people how to balance, you know, work and home at the same time, you have to do all of that when you're working with people and you really want to mentor them.
No, it's true because some people, you have your work family, you got your family,
Mm-hmm.
but the key is you have to be both in the same places.
You have to
Can't
be.
code switch. You can't
You
act
have
one
to
way.
be.
You have to be,
Mm-hmm.
and there's that transparency, and there's also the integrity too, because people talk. That's right, people talk,
Yes, they
and you
do.
want them to say nice things. Want them to say nice
You
things.
definitely want them to say nice things. You definitely want it. And for me, that was a big balance because, my daughter, and I think you remember this, my daughter had sickle cell. So, raising, a child with sickle cell and working in the business, it was a balance.
Yes.
And you had to have a teamwork, I had to have my family with me, to just make sure I could get through it and be able to not, having her being sick and then going to work. So I couldn't take that to work every time.
Yeah, and the
So I had to
hours
balance.
the hours we work are no
Mm-hmm.
joke. We're
It's
talking
no joke.
16, 18 hours. Like I was saying at the beginning, first
Mm-hmm.
one to show up, last one to leave.
Yes.
And, you got to put on that mask sometimes.
Yes.
With this whole body of work, what would you say to someone? I know we talked about the initiative. What would be the mindset for someone coming in if they wanted to do what you do?
You know what? I would say, first of all, know that that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Learn everything you can. And makeup is not just an Instagram photo that you put up there and get likes. You have to know the medium for whatever the project is. If it's a um, if it's a true story, real life, you want it to look like that. You don't want to take just because you think you're the best makeup artist in the world and you want to paint that brow or whatever it is that you think you know best. This doesn't work for that time. So you have to do your research and know, and sometimes we also have to step back and not go, oh, I'm going to do this makeup and I have to have it like this. No, sometimes your your less makeup is your best makeup if it tells the story.
That's interesting you say that. Less is more. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have some people that want to ask some questions. Do you know any of these people?
I do.
What mark do you want to leave on the industry as you get ready to retire? What kind of legacy do you want to leave?
Well, I don't know if I'm really that ready to retire, but I know that I've been doing this for 30 years. I just want to be able to leave the fact that I have, if there's two or three people that come behind me and say, oh, you know what? Vonda taught me this, or Vonda, taught me that. That to me is leaving a legacy. That's important to me.
My question is over 30 years, of course, career is something that you take on, but you learn over the years within it. And with that being said, from the very beginning, what was something that you'll say was a weak point that became a strong point for you?
Oh, that's interesting. The weak point for me was really the ability to be able to um, balance out a team. Because you have so many different personalities and people that you work with. It's hard to find that person that really connects and gel with you to make that project the most amazing project. When you find that, that was the hardest thing for me in the business was, you know, being an artist, it's not too much you can ask me for that I can't deliver on. But the teamwork is what's important. And it took me a while to understand that for me now, we were talking about David Oyelowo and Bass Reeves. This show, my team was a rookie team. And I was able to get the best work out of them because they wanted to learn and do exactly what I designed for them to do. and it became a good teamwork because they knew that I had it, and then they wanted it. So we worked well together, and it was the best. It's the best experience.
I think we have another question
Hello, I'm Para Thomas, and I work very closely with Vonda. She's one of my mentors. And my question is, as you continue to go on and pave the way, what are some ways that people can join in and truly embrace each other in this industry the way that you have truly done with me? What are some ways that we can also continue to pave it forward?
Well, whew, that one, you have to just continue to be you. And when you connect with someone, you give them that opportunity. You give them that opportunity because you never know what that opportunity leads to. It may work, it may not, but you would never know if you don't try. And you always put, for me, I always put God first. I find if I don't pray over it, I know at some point it's going to let me know that you didn't pray about this. So you got to put God first, and then you also got to give people a chance.
Yeah.
You got to give them a chance. If you know somebody that you think that they're the greatest, and you think somebody that might know a little bit, and you already know that you have the knowledge, get that person that might know a little bit. So then you can tighten them up and give them a little something to be able to move forward. And so then they can be able, when they go out there, they'll learn something, and hopefully they'll do the same because they don't feel like they have to protect their knowledge. Because if somebody feels free to give it to you, you should feel free to give it.
That's correct. I mean, in order to become a good leader, you have to also become a good follower first.
Yes.
Because if you can't take instructions, then how are you going to lead people and know how they want to be leaded? I mean, you said you were working with a team of rookies, but they're all ready to learn.
They were ready. We were out there in the trenches getting it in on Bass Reeves. That was really an experience for them all, and for me too, because having a young team, a rookie team, and, getting out there saying, we got to do this, but I'm out there with you. I'm not just pointing and directing. I'm out there with you. And if you don't know, you're going to learn today because I'm out there doing. Just follow my lead. That's all I wanted you to do. Follow my lead. Come over there. If you feel like you don't know something, let me know. We can check it out. There's no wrongdoing. We're all in this together. Just if you do what I told you to, I'm sure you'll be fine. If not, if you have a question, come ask me. Because that's how you make it happen. And that's how you have people wanting to learn from you. And that's the one thing that that's the one thing that if I was to really do something, I would have a school and just make sure that they're taught everything from etiquette on down to whatever it is that film requires.
See, on Pan and Zoom, we just put that into the universe. The Vonda Morris School. See, you heard it here first. It's on tape.
Oh, we got it on tape.
See?
No, I wouldn't mind at all.
I'll come to the ribbon
I wouldn't
cutting.
mind at all because there's nothing in that school that I can't do. So.
And you could dedicate it to Irma, and
Irma will be there to
cut the ribbon. But it's a beautiful thing. What else do you have coming up on your slate?
Well, right now, of course, everybody should be out there watching Bass Reeves because
excellent.
That is excellent, and it's telling our story the way we need to tell it. It's Christmas time, so if you want to, get warm and cozy, it's Dashing Through the Snow with Ludacris and Lil Rel. That's out on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And I have Shooting Stars, which has been out for a while, the LeBron James story, and that's on Peacock. And Bass Reeves is on Paramount Plus.
That's correct, yes. I may backtrack a little bit because I wanted to talk a little bit more about the experience of Bass Reeves. You guys were out in the dust in Texas. What kind of makeup effects did you have to create for that piece?
This was such a great experience for me creatively because I designed the branding for Bass.
Oh, wow.
Because, the challenge there is, it's like, hey, we keloid. First, there's like, oh, it's a little big. I was like, we keloid. I want to tell the story. And no better way to tell the story than to put a keloid on a black man. So you can really go, oh, you know. So I designed that. I sketched that and sculptured it and designed that. I also designed the scarring and Dennis Quaid, Dennis Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Yeah. I just designed that, and I also um, did the scalping. I did the scalping.
How'd you do that?
Well, you know, there was pieces that I could have bought because I did have a special effects company that I purchased my effects pieces from. Um, but that one I decided I wanted to be different than anything else that you would see.
Yeah, I felt that
Mm-hmm.
when you scalp it.
So I just got me some lace pieces and some gelatin, some gel, some blood, and
It looked like honey baked ham with a weave on it. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I don't think anybody
I
thought
had
it
to
was
throw in
honey
a joke
baked
up there.
ham. But I just, you know, created so it can. And the thing of it is I had to think about how I'm going to make this where if they need to do it one take or, you know, and I was able to make it where they can put it back on, take it off, put a little dish of blood in there. And it was great.
Well, it had to be fun, right?
It was great. It was so great. One of the background artists came over and asked me if he could buy it. He says, "Can I buy that?" Like
Really?
right there. I was like, "I don't think so. We can't sell it to you now, but call me later."
Right, and then you run, right? That's extras for you. I've enjoyed our conversation immensely, and I've learned a lot. And I'd like to thank Vonda for coming here.
And thank you.
And talking about the craft of hair and makeup. And that concludes another episode of Pan and Zoom, where we talk to filmmakers about filmmaking. And until then, keep on filming.